Hi, everybody. So excited for the interview that you're getting ready to listen to. I think you're really going to enjoy it. I wanted to take a minute to come on and ask you for a little bit of help. We're not asking for any money. We just need your likes and your subscription. So if you could go to YouTube, MeisterCon Pod, if you're watching this interview on YouTube, please give us a subscription. We're trying to take this podcast to the next level, and we need those subscription numbers to do it. If you're listening to us on a podcast platform, same thing. If you could give us a subscription, if you like the episodes that you're watching, comment, give us some feedback. All of that goes into the package when we take that to these bigger companies and try to sell it. We're so proud of our little podcast. We're closing on 350 interviews. So many good guests. We could really use the help. So please give us that subscription and that like. Thanks, guys. Enjoy this interview. I know you're going to love it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. Really excited today. I've got actress Caitlin Houlahan with me. So welcome, Caitlin.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
We've been working on this for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few months.
A few months, but you were so nice about it. You stayed in touch and you always said, when it opened up, you come on, and here you are.
I'm true to my word. I try to be.
Right.
Yeah.
That just means you've been really busy.
It's true. The
Yeah.
holidays are always really, really busy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Did you get to go home for the holidays or were you in New York?
I was in New York. My parents actually came up here.
Nice.
My husband and I just bought a house in September. So we were able, thank you. We were able to have them here, have our first Christmas in our house with my parents. And it was probably their first Christmas away from from hosting at their house.
Yeah.
So I think it was kind of nice for them to be able to relax a little bit. But I haven't been home for Christmas in years because I've been lucky enough to be in shows in New York, which are typically showing on Christmas.
That's right. Well, you did some Broadway shows, right?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
I did Waitress from 2016 on and off through really just this past year when it came back. And I am currently in a show called Girl from the North Country, which runs through Sunday. And it's
You have a show tonight.
I do. I do at 7 p.m. Yep.
Very nice. Very nice. I can't make it. I could leave right now. I still
Maybe
wouldn't make it.
Tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow. That's right.
Perfect.
Right. I love Broadway. So is it a musical or is it a more of a play?
It's a musical, but I would say it's a little bit of both. It has Bob Dylan music, but it is set to a play written by Conor McPherson, who's an Irish playwright. And the music doesn't really further the plot in any way. So if you're a big musical fan and you sat in our audience, you would think, I'm not totally sure that this is a musical. So we like to say it's a play with music.
Okay. I like that. Do you sing?
Yes, I do. That is my first and foremost. That has always been my main talent, I guess you would say.
Really?
Yeah. I went to school for musical theater.
Well, yeah. So let's start there. Talk a little bit about, your schooling growing up, what you were into, and how you translated that into the entertainment business.
Sure. So I think I had a little bit of an interesting pathway to performing, which I find that everyone who does perform tends to have like the strangest pathway there. There never seems to be one way. So I grew up going to public school. There was a theater program, I guess you would say, and because I was in the choir, I thought, this is great. I'm going to do this. I was less sporty, even though I did a few sports here and there,
Yeah,
mostly running because you couldn't really get kicked off of the cross country team.
that's right.
Um,
Everybody
so
gets to run.
exactly. Builds character. And so I would do the plays, but I never really thought that it was something that I could do in the future, mostly because our school put a lot of money into the sports and the academics and less into the theater and the arts. And so when I went to college, I went to Baldwin Wallace College at the time. Now it's a university in Cleveland, Ohio. I went for music therapy because I loved music, but I wanted to use it in a practical way. And I say
Okay.
that with, finger quotes because I thought I was being smart. And I got there, and there happened to be a music theater program that was very well known and had a lot of people who were working on Broadway, or from their
Yes.
program, they were, translating to Broadway. And I would go to their shows, and they would have these master classes where they would sing and they would get feedback. And I thought, oh my gosh, I think I can do that. And so a couple years in, I decided music therapy wasn't for me. I auditioned for the music theater program. I got in, I did an extra year of school, and then moved to New York. Um, I'm making this sound a lot more simple than it really was. There was a lot of of hard times and hard work and things like that. But I just feel very lucky. I had this like blind confidence. And we did a showcase after um, right before graduating. So my class, which was like 15 people, we sang for put a little cabaret show together for a bunch of agents, and I signed with an agency and moved to New York, and that was that.
That's pretty amazing. So if you had stayed into musical therapy, what would you be doing now?
I've thought a lot about that because you always think like, what if I had done this, and what if
Yeah,
I had
what if?
I think at the time I had been planning to work with deaf children. I was
Very
learning
nice.
sign language, and there was a lot of research behind the vibrations of music and helping the deaf community with the vibrations of music. So I'd be doing something like that, I think. Maybe in a classroom or a clinic.
Yeah, it's really nice. That's really nice. So if you got a role that required sign language, would you be able to do it?
I would have to brush up some skills. I would say I know
Yes.
some basics, I know the alphabet, things like that. But there actually have been a growing number of theaters across America who actually work with deaf actors and hearing actors, and they sign for each other, they sing for
That's
each other,
great.
and it's really fantastic. So that's definitely on my bucket list
Yeah.
someday.
Yeah, that's pretty terrific.
Yeah.
That's that's pretty good. So when you got to New York, what was your first acting job?
My very first acting job was I was in Peter Pan Live on NBC. I don't know if you had seen.
We watched that. And that's pretty. That was your first job. That's pretty amazing.
It was pretty cool. I still like don't know how it happened. A friend of mine who I'd grown up with was also in it, which was really bizarre. And I mean, I just look back on the experience, and I learned so much, but it was also the perfect mix of TV and theater with
Yeah.
all of these people in it who were just like these incredible TV actors, but also like theater actors, these guys who were in the ensemble who had been in 10 plus Broadway shows. It was just like, I was like, I do not belong here.
Was that like they've done a few of those? Was that the first one?
That was the second one. The first one was Sound of Music Live.
Oh, Sound of Music. I was thinking Sound of Music came after that.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I love Sound of Music, but you played Jane, if I
I
remember
did.
right.
Yes. So I was in like the very last 5 minutes. So if you hung in through the 3 hours of it, I was right at the end. And I remember right before going on, the stage manager looked at me because everything was live. And I guess there had been we had taken a little more time in certain scenes. And so right before went on, he just said, "Don't take any dramatic pauses. Just say your lines because it's going to get cut
Say it
off."
and get out.
So I was like, "Oh no, my TV debut," and I just have to like spit out the lines and get to the end. But yeah.
I mean, that's pretty amazing. Did that when they so it was live. So was there an audience there as well?
You know what? There was not. And I think that since this medium has been created, because it's so new and they're still kind of figuring out how to make it successful,
Yeah.
they're in the more recent shows like Rent Live and Grease Live, they had kind of added an audience, and I think that that really helped.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, at the end of the big dance numbers, it kind of just, it was silent, and you were like, breathing heavily.
I mean, people like I think if you're watching from home, like most people always hated the laugh tracks. But if they had a live audience where it was like genuine laughter, people like that.
Totally genuine. I think it's the yeah, they wanted something. People want something that's genuine,
Yeah.
But
But
I
it
also
makes you feel a part of it, I think.
absolutely. And I think having these live shows has been so wonderful, even if they haven't figured it out quite yet, or maybe they've had some flops here and there. First of all, it's giving people jobs, amazing, amazing jobs. And also, it's bringing theater to people who might not be able to go to New York or go to their, local theater or whatever. So it's really nice.
It's amazing what they're able to show now. Like when they did Hamilton for Disney, I mean, it felt like you were at the theater. I was like,
Yes.
I'm gonna watch it, but it's not gonna be as good. There's no way. But then I watched it and I was like, it's really good.
It's really good. Yeah. And they've figured it, and then that's a whole new medium of do the show as it is every night, and we're gonna just capture it. And then we'll get close-ups here and there. And I'm like, this is an amazing way to bring theater to
Yeah,
people.
loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's difficult. Most people don't have access to Broadway, or maybe not even to off Broadway.
Sure.
If
Or
you're
there
going
isn't
to a
very much
play,
room.
well, that's right.
So it gives
It's
you an opportunity to really see what people can do up
yeah,
close.
yeah, and there's actors that's all they do is theater, and people never get to see them, and they're amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So is your preference theater or like television movie?
It's hard to say because I think I've done more theater. I definitely have done more theater than I have TV film. I really enjoy TV film. There's something about the magic of feeling like you're just one simple part of TV, that everything else around you is also making the story. And it is the same for theater, but when you are in a long running show, like you're in it for years at a time, and you're doing the same thing every single day, it can get tiring. It can start to feel like work. And so I think both of them have their benefits, but at the moment I'm really enjoying TV film.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That's pretty great. We have enjoyed you on several different shows.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been popping up in different places. Like we saw you on an episode of Girls.
Yes. Yeah, before I did Broadway at all. That was like something that just felt so unexpected
Yeah,
when I
it was a
got the
big
call.
show too.
And that was my first like real experience on TV, and I knew no one there, and I kind of just showed up and had to pretend like I know what I'm doing. This is totally normal.
I'd
When in
have
fact,
trouble with that, I think. Like I get starstruck, so I'd be a mess. Like they always say, just act professional. I'd have a hard time doing that. He's like, look who I'm on stage with.
Right. You do that on the inside, you know? I've
Yeah.
started not looking up people that I work with because I decided I don't want to know what their resume is anymore. I used to want that. You know, I wanted to know everything about this person and then I decided maybe I shouldn't because then I'll get a little too excited
Do
or
it, yeah, do it after.
exactly. Or find out from them
Yeah,
if they're
even
if
better.
they're chatty, you know?
Yeah, that's even better. That's even better. But we loved you on Girls, and then you're on Mare of Easttown.
That's correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
was a bit of a crazy experience because we started pre-pandemic and then the pandemic happened, everything shut down, and then we came back and finished it during the pandemic. So that was my first pandemic experience working. So there were a lot of protocols in place and
Sure.
um, you know, things like that. On top of it being just a very dark subject matter and kind of being isolated, it just was a very interesting experience.
That was it was a show that was very familiar to us in West Virginia because it could have been a town in West Virginia.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
and talk about a like a master's level class of acting.
Oh my goodness. I mean, the
Wow.
people in that show just yeah. Evan Peters in the bar drinking, just one of the best drunk acting scenes I've ever seen in my whole life. And I didn't really know what happened in the story. So as I was watching it, you know, unfold on television, I was just as engrossed as everybody else. And I would pop up on screen. I'd be like, I completely forgot I was in this. And couldn't believe that I was among these incredible, incredible actors. Pretty cool.
Yeah, you held your own.
Thank
Really
you.
good. Yeah, we loved your character on there.
Thank
It's that was a difficult role.
Yeah, it there was a lot of emotion that went along with it. And anytime I, you know, we filmed in Philadelphia, and anytime I got there, I would start watching, you know, YouTube videos of, you know, women who have been trapped in houses and things like that. And it took a toll on me
I'm
for a while.
sure.
Once I was done, I was kinda glad to not have to do that research and, you know, be in that kind of headspace, but
Yeah, yeah.
also fascinating as an actor to be able to kind of enter that world.
Well, it helps you understand. I think at times actors can become so engrossed in a role that they really struggle to get out of it, and then they have some problems afterwards. And you can
Yeah.
see why when it's that type of role. And you really, I mean, you're acting, but you got to put yourself in those kind of shoes. I mean, it's not easy.
Absolutely. Especially when you're being, you know, if you're flying to a different city and you're staying in a hotel and you're completely alone. So,
Yeah,
you know, you're working on that every day and that becomes your life and your identity. It's, you know, you got to find ways to break out of that and watch The Bachelor when you get out of
sure.
work at home.
Well, yeah, you got to switch the mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that you watched yourself though. Like I do this podcast with my son. He used to do the on-camera stuff with me. Now he does all the hard stuff because he decided I don't want to be on camera. So he does the editing and all the stuff.
Oh, wow.
I've got the easy job. He's got the hard job. But he won't. When he was on camera, he will not watch or listen to anything he does. It drove me crazy because I have to listen because I'm like,
Really
well, maybe I'll get better if I listen. But he was
true.
the opposite.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit of both. You know, I watch with my husband and I think I never want to watch with anyone else. I don't want other people to be looking at me when I'm watching myself or anything like that. And I've noticed that when I am on screen, I it everything kind of goes black for me. I have no idea what my face looks like. I know that I turn bright red in person, and I'm like, "Oh God, was that okay? I don't know. I blacked out." But I try to watch because I do think that you know it's good to see how you're doing and what you can do better.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Are you like just naturally introverted, or are you more of an extrovert?
I'd say as I'm getting older, I'm becoming more of an introvert. I'm definitely a homebody. The pandemic was great. I love to stay inside. I did not need to leave the house at all. No desire.
That's
Um,
nice.
yeah, so I would say, yeah, I'm definitely more of an introvert.
Yeah. When your husband watched you on that show, how did he take it? I'm sure he loved your acting, but like for me, if that was my wife, it would kind of upset me a little bit because I wouldn't want to be thinking about that.
Yeah, I think that he was just 100% supportive about the whole thing, and he
Yeah.
had gone through the whole journey with me of, knowing, going through my lines with me and going through the research and knowing what I was going through. So I think he was pretty prepared for it. It was more my parents and how they were going to react to it.
Yeah.
And there definitely were moments that I would say, okay, mom, I think you should close your eyes for this part because I don't think you want to see your daughter like this. And she totally understood, but also because she's very sensitive to
Yeah.
scary things and, of course, situations like that. But she was also very, very supportive and, watched as much as she could.
Yeah. But afterward, did she say like maybe you could try a rom-com?
Oh, absolutely. And her sister would call her, her friends would call her, can Caitlin start doing, like Hallmark movies? Or I'm like, I mean, sign me up.
That's what you need. You need a Christmas movie.
I would love that. That's on my bucket list too. One day.
Yeah. There's only like a million a year now.
Exactly. You'd think that the opportunity would have come up.
It'll come up. It'll come up. Yeah, there's so many of them now.
There are. Every year doesn't disappoint.
I learned because we've talked to a lot of people that work in that type of film, Christmas movies. They film a lot of those in Vancouver, but
Mm,
it's supposed to be New York. So a lot of those movies where you're watching them in New York, they're actually in Vancouver.
interesting.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I would love to go to Vancouver. So
It's cold,
I've
from what I
I
hear.
I'm from Cleveland. I'll be
Oh
fine.
yeah. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Did you have? Well, you were in New York, but what was the weather like around Christmas? Because we were like in the 70s on Christmas Day. It was so weird.
Yeah, it was very strange. We got this kind of magical dusting of snow the night or the morning of Christmas Eve, which was just like no one expected it. It was
That's
so
awesome.
magical. And then it melted by the next day. And I don't remember if it rained or if it was, I think it was in the 60s. It was something ridiculous. Not Christmassy, not Christmas weather.
No, that's not Christmas. Well, I guess it is.
I guess it is now, right?
Yeah, but that can't like even though I love 70-degree days, that can't be good in December. That's got to
No,
be a bad sign.
yeah, not on Christmas. It's supposed to snow.
So with your singing, any thoughts on ever putting something out there? I mean, do you write your own music? Have you thought about releasing songs or a EP or anything like that?
No. I mean, I've thought about it. I've thought about it, but the answer is always no because I love I'm really into like I'm a if someone gives me something to sing or writes it for me, like great. Like I want something to go off. I need that note, like note by note, I will sing that for you or I will, do an audition. I love having something to work off. And same with like lines. I love having a script to work off. I am terrible at improv, terrible, completely freeze up. I
Too.
tried to write a song once and it was like incredibly silly. And I think it also comes from this intimidation of my husband because he is a fantastic songwriter. And so
Oh,
from the moment I met him, I was like, well, okay, that's it for me. I don't need to ever try again because
right. You
it's
don't
never
have to
going
try.
to be that good.
Has he written you music that you have sung?
I have sung with him in some of his
Okay.
songs, but typically he'll write it and then, I like to harmonize. I can come up with some harmonies,
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, that's a
but
talent.
but no words, no words.
Well, that's his job.
Yeah, exactly.
What's his genre? What kind of music does he make?
Oh, I would say folk songwriter.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Yes,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Do you play an instrument?
I it's it's complicated. I went to music school, so I did have to learn how to play piano. I had learned a little bit of guitar, ukulele. I did grow up playing trumpet. I was in the marching band,
Oh, very
so
nice.
played trumpet from 5th grade on. But I would say that's the instrument I'm probably best at, and I haven't played in years. Um, give me chords, I can strum, I can
Yeah,
figure it out. If I practiced, it would probably I would probably be sitting here saying I play this and this and this, but I don't practice. So, you know, little bits. I tinker.
tinker. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of talent in
Yeah, yeah.
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, both of my stepchildren played trumpet, and
Really?
their dad played well, and my wife, she played trumpet, but their dad also played trumpet. And when they were senior, junior, and let me see, one was a senior in high school, one was a freshman in college. They and their father were in an Ohio drum corps, but all of them got to play trumpet together. It was awesome.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
was
so
like,
cool.
yeah, I was like, I wish I had musical talent, because I mean, how great is that? You get as a grown up, get to play with your grown up children. I thought that was
That's
really
pretty
neat.
cool. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So let's talk about American Rust.
Sure.
I was so happy when I saw that you were going to be on that. That was such a good show. It was kind of a hard show to watch again.
For sure.
You've been
Same.
on a few of those, but so good.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
I
good.
mean, again, the acting talent is just phenomenal. My experience on American Rust was so much lighter than it was at Mare of Easttown. I got to be around people. That was
Right,
wonderful. And I
right.
just had this kind of core group of friends that was in scenes with that I just got to be with all the time, and it made my experience there just fantastic. Um, and being in Pittsburgh, the people were so friendly. Everyone, all the crew, everyone who worked on the project was so kind. And even though Pennsylvania is not Midwest, it made me feel like I was in the Midwest.
Right.
And so it felt a little bit like home, which was really lovely.
Yeah, it was such a good show, and you were so believable in that role. Like I was like, I think she could be like a home care person.
My brother is a nurse, so I kind of was trying to like pick up tips
Yeah,
from him. But, we were also going through all the COVID things, protocol during this show. And I had my costume scrubs on and I was sitting outside reading because it was a really nice day. And no one knew it was me. They all thought I was the COVID nurse who was there to test.
did your brother approve of your acting?
He did. He
Yeah.
did. Yeah. But he always does. He's my brother.
Well, that's right. That's right. That's a good brother. Is he older or younger?
He's older. I have two older brothers.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, yeah, and we're
Yeah,
as different as can be. My oldest brother's a mechanical engineer, middle brother's a nurse, and I'm an actor.
that's
So,
really interesting.
yeah, we all went our different ways there.
Yeah, that's really yeah, that's really interesting. I always think that's fascinating how families turn out that way. You're coming from the same people, but you end up completely different. I'm like, how does that happen?
We are like the perfect example of like first child, middle child, youngest child. Any of those videos, we send those videos to each other all the time because they are spot on.
Yeah, you're the baby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it's the middle child. That's the one that has they're usually the ones that are a little bit aggravated, you know, because they're not the oldest, so they don't get, some of the perks of that, but they're not the baby. They're the ones that are usually trying to get the attention.
Yes, but I would say that my brother was successful in getting the attention and very goofy and got away with everything, still does, but he also just, is always there for everybody when you need him.
That's awesome. You
Yeah.
can't beat a supportive family. That's terrific.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they're the best. My family's the best. I can say
Was Waitress the Broadway show, did it come out after the movie, or was the movie based on the show?
After the movie. So the movie
I
came out,
thought
I think, in the early 90s.
that's what I thought. It's like a way after, right?
Yeah, yeah, and written and directed and starred in by Adrian Shelley, who
Yeah,
was tragically murdered.
right.
Um, and so, yeah, when the show was created, which I wasn't from it or in it from the beginning, I joined about 6 months on, but we constantly talked about Adrian Shelley, and we were very close with her family, and it was just fantastic. All the people who came to see the show who said, "Oh my gosh, this movie was, mine and my daughter's favorite thing, and now to see it on stage." So somehow it was just beautifully recreated. Um, I think it was a movie that was begging to be a musical.
Yeah, because it was a great movie, and I can imagine it's a terrific musical.
The-
Has Carrie Russell been by to see
I believe that she was there opening night, but again, I wasn't there.
it?
I
You
believe
weren't there
I
yet.
saw her picture that she was there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, what is your role in Waitress,
So
or was your role?
I played the role of Dawn Pinkett.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
was the character played by Adrienne Shelley, and
Oh,
she,
that's a
which,
big role.
tall order, tall, big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But she's kind of a very similar to me, a very introverted, a little nerdy, a little quirky, and isn't sure that she should put herself out there and date someone, because what if it doesn't work out. And I got to play
What if it
opposite.
does?
Exactly, that is the antithesis of her entire song. But I played opposite Christopher Fitzgerald, who is a fantastic actor, Broadway actor, very well known, originated the role of Bach in Wicked,
Very
um,
nice.
and probably one of the funniest people I'll ever meet. So that was just a joy, and I've learned so much comedy from him over the
Did you
years.
get positive feedback from the family?
We did, the biggest compliment that I ever received was that when her family first came to the show and I was in the role, they mentioned that I actually looked and reminded them of her.
That's
And
terrific.
yeah, and that is, to this day, the biggest compliment I have ever received.
Yeah, well, as it should be. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. When you were going into the role, did you research ahead of time, or did you kind of just go in and make it your own?
You know, when the cast album had come out, I was on tour with a show called Bridges of Madison County, another
Oh yeah,
movie
yeah.
musical.
Yeah.
And I was listening to the song that Dawn sings, originally played by Kamiko Glenn, and I became enthralled with it. I sang it all the time. I loved it so much. I dragged my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, to see the show. I cried, I laughed. It was absolutely one of those things that you see that role and you go, I have to play that. I don't know why. I have to play that. And so every thing that led me to that role just kind of was put in place. It felt every step I was like, okay, this is it, this is it, this is it. And so I felt that I already had a lot of the research inside me, because I think I saw so much of myself in that character. But then also watching Kamiko Glenn create this gorgeous character, I wanted to do her justice as well.
I love that. So when you went to see the play before you had joined, did you already know in your head you were going to try to get that role, or were you watching it thinking, I'd love to have that role, but that's never going
Um, after I watched the show, I emailed my agent immediately and I said, I don't know if it'll ever happen, if it'll happen in a year, if it'll happen way down the line, but I want to be considered for this role. It was like that weird blind
to happen?
confidence again that
Yeah,
I'm not normally that assertive. So I think there was just like something in my head
meant
or
to
my
be.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That's pretty great. Is there a genre that you haven't done that you would like to try outside
Ooh.
of Christmas movies?
um, yeah, I mean, I think like my ultimate dream, the ultimate bucket list dream role would be something in the Marvel universe.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, I'm nerdy. You have
I
to do
mean,
something in the Marvel universe.
I would love to. I love that whole genre. I got really into it over the pandemic.
Yeah,
Hadn't really watched anything before then, and now I'm just completely obsessed. And so that would be
good.
the ultimate goal.
Did you go see Spider-Man?
Sure did.
Oh yeah.
Sure did. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, like when I was growing up, we had nothing. There was an occasional really bad attempt at a movie or a TV show. It's terrible. But now everything coming out is good.
It's good and it's connected. My husband and I just started watching Daredevil for the first
Oh
time,
yeah. Yeah.
and
Well,
so
he's back. He's back.
I know that's why we felt like, you know what, we gotta learn all these stories before they all start coming in and intertwining in this new phase.
Yeah, I love it when I was, I'm an ex comic book store owner. So that's all I ever wanted to
Oh
be.
wow.
And it was perfect when I was a single college guy. Family comes along, not the easiest to make a living off of at that
Sure.
time. But I loved it. But there was no, it was being nerdy was not looked at favorably back then. But now everybody's nerdy.
For sure.
Everybody's into it. It's great.
It's a great trait to have.
I may walk around going, I told you. I told you so.
Hey, that's okay.
My son says I'm a nerd snob because I'll be like, I knew what was happening.
I knew that this would be good. So you've been around from the beginning, like Iron Man 1.
Oh yeah.
Like before you realized that it was all going to be connected.
Oh yeah. For
That must
sure.
have been an unbelievable feeling.
It was so nice to see a movie that was so well done. Although I actually did kind of like some of the older Spider-Man. Everybody's freaking out about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, but they did a pretty good job.
They were great. They were great.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job with that. So those were nice. But yeah, when Iron Man came out, it felt like things were changing. Like you were like, oh, this could, like you watch that one, you're like, well, there has to be other movies coming.
Right.
If they can do this, they're going to do it.
Right. At what point did you realize that, like, oh my gosh, this is all like in the same world?
I think thinking back, probably around the Avengers when they really started pulling all of them together. Yeah. The one that, because Hulk came out and nobody really thought that was part of the universe. You didn't think that, but then they did Avengers and they kind of just pulled all that in, and then just to see the whole plan laid out, and they're still going. They're in whatever phase they're in now, but they just keep layering on top of it, and it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, DC kind of screwed theirs up. They needed to they rushed it. Marvel, they took decades.
Right. It was a slow burn for sure. But I mean, now it's everything. It's the thing.
It's the thing. Although Peacemaker's out really good.
Okay.
Really good. So if you for a DC show, if you saw Suicide Squad, it's spinning off from there.
Mm-hmm.
Shows really, it's the same guy that did Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, okay. So right.
It's so funny. Right. James Gunn, yeah. And it's just so funny and well done. So check that one out.
I will check it out.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Well, Caitlin, thank you so much. I'm so glad we finally got to talk. This has been terrific.
Oh, me too. Thank you so much for thinking of me and having me. This has just been a joy. Yeah,
when we watched, I'm trying to think. I guess it was American Rust. When you showed up on there, I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to try to get her on the show. Because I was like, we just keep seeing her pop up and stuff. I'm like,
I'm so honored.
Yeah, I was just thrilled. And you answered directly, which that's pretty cool.
Thank you so much. Of course.
Thank you so much. But before you go, because I know you got big things to do tonight. night.
No.
Pretty exciting. You're all warmed up now, though.
I am. I truly am.
Yeah. So before you go, anything else that you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
Well, you know, like I said, I'm working on Girl from the North Country at the Belasco Theater in New York City on Broadway.
Exciting.
That runs until Sunday, but we do have plans to come back in April when COVID has settled down a bit. And we wouldn't be at the Belasco at that point, but just look out for us.
Yeah, that's terrific. Yeah, I would love to make a little trip.
Yeah, I would love for you to come.
Yeah, that would be fun. Okay, so last thing.
Yes.
Where can we find you on social media?
Oh man, that's a hard question because I do not have social media. It was something
probably the smart choice.
Oh, thank you. You know, I deleted it during the pandemic and I never looked back. So I enjoy being a bit mysterious.
What's that feel like? That freedom.
That's what I was gonna say. It just feels free. It feels free. I don't feel like I have to answer to anyone or, you know, give people what they want. So, you know, it's very freeing and it's kind of mysterious and I get to have this life that no one knows about and it's really nice.
So are you completely cut off or do you still have stuff on there, but it's hidden so you can still kind of stalk it?
You know, I tried to do that. I tried to have a little Finsta, but it was just like complicated. And then it was like, where do I set the boundary? Who do I not let become my friend? Then I felt weird and mean. So I'm totally off of that. But I will say I do have a burner TikTok so that I can watch TikTok.
Very nice.
Because it brings me a lot of laughter and joy.
There's some really talented people.
It reminds me a lot of Vine, which I was really into in college. Yeah. So yeah, I like the laughs that it brings me.
I think that's the natural progression, right? Vine went straight to TikTok.
I think so. Or maybe YouTube was in there for like a minute, but TikTok is the place to be. So yeah.
No, it's so funny. And they're short, which is, you know, nobody has attention spans anymore. So
absolutely. A quick laugh.
Well, Caitlin, you have to come back.
Oh, I would love to. Just let me know.
Yeah, I will. I can track you down now, even without the social media.
You know my email.
I got the email.
Hopefully I'll have something to talk about next time.
Oh, I know you will. I think you're just scratching the surface. I know we're going to see so much more from you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, hold on one second. All right, so that was Caitlin Houlahan. So that was terrific. I meant to ask her about her last name because Houlahan, the only time I remember coming across that name was from MASH. You had Nurse Houlahan. So I wanted to ask her about that because I think that's a very Hollywood sounding name. Really, really cool. Caitlin was terrific. I hope you guys enjoyed that. She's so talented. If you haven't watched American Rust, Mare of Easttown, you need to check those out. She was so good in both those, and I meant it. I think we're going to see so much more of her going forward. She just really scratching the surface. I hope that we can get out and see her in a show. You know, see her on Broadway. That would be amazing. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week again. You know, there's so many things that you could be spending your time on. You keep coming back to us. Really, really appreciate that. If you haven't yet, we could use the help on our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod. If you could give us a like and subscribe, that would really help us out. We'd appreciate that. You can find all 330 or so episodes, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. There's a funny blog from Brett. It's very geeky, well written. You'll love it. If we're doing anything in studio, if we're doing any live, you know, on location events, if we're covering a convention, all of that will be on the website, meistercon.com. So until next time, thank you guys so much. Bye, everybody.